Hey, hey, and welcome to another episode of the Front Row Friday Show. Let's dig in. Alrighty then. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully you can all hear me and see me. Just let me know in the chat if you can't hear me or you can't see me. And I'm just gonna jump right in. It's really hot in my studio today. This place doesn't have air conditioning. It's separate from my house. It's like in a carriage house back behind my house, and there's no air conditioning, and I can't turn on the fan because it messes up the microphone. So I'm going to hurry through this. I'll be honest with you. Okay. Let me make sure you are seeing my screen. I think you are. All right. I am broadcasting live right now on several places on Facebook, on Twitter, not on Instagram, on YouTube. So I may, depending on where you're commenting, I may or may not see your comments, but I will definitely swing in and say hello to you after the show for sure, if I don't speak to you now. So let's start, as we always do, with our social media updates. And this one's pretty cool. Facebook launched a new Creator Studio app, which is going to let you manage your Facebook and Instagram posts on the go. So Creator Studio has been inside of Facebook for some time in your Facebook page. Very cool tools in there. Now you can use it on the go, which is great. Let's see. Polls are back for Messenger in case you missed them. One thing, this just came in handy just recently, is picking a date, like when everybody can meet. So you got a group chat going on and, you're trying to decide between Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. You could turn it into a poll and, kind of handy. Facebook has released 15 new blueprint courses covering a whole range of topics, like how to select the right social channels for your business, tell your business story, mapping the customer journey, how to set marketing goals, how to create and manage a content calendar. So I always say, when you see a platform create a free guide like this, get it, because you might already know everything that they're teaching you, but my guess is there's something that we can learn, right? So I'm going to put a link to that over on the show notes page at jenlehner.com/flash, and you'll see it there at the bottom of the screen as well. So Facebook added the capacity for you to create messenger rooms. We've been seeing the messenger rooms all over the place. You can create a messenger room right from your Instagram direct inbox. But the thing is, that's not where the room is going to happen. It's still going to take you to Facebook Messenger, but you can start it over in your Instagram DMs. Facebook has released an app called Chat Up, and it's basically messenger rooms for voice calls. And it'll let you see when your friends are online and up for a voice call, as well as in progress group chats that you can join. So I haven't gone in here to look at this, but if I were you, I would go into the settings and turn that off. Do you really want to know that? Do you want everybody to know that you're up at 1 a.m. And available for a chat? No, you don't. So, I don't guess you do. So, I'll be turning that off myself. Let's see here. They've also unveiled a new experiment. Some people have it. I don't have it. It's called Collab. And this is really just an obvious attempt by Facebook trying to become TikTok. They're 15-second videos that let you mix clips with other people set to music. So I don't know exactly how that's going to work. Sounds a lot like the duet feature in TikTok. So I'm not going to ramble on about that because I can't speak to that intelligently until I get my hands on it. Let's see here. Next stages of monetization for IGTV. Yep. They're rolling out ads for IGTV, and they're going to be up to 15 seconds long, and they're still testing it. So there's no word as to whether or not they're going to stay 15 seconds long or if we're going to be able to skip through them or what. but apparently this revenue they're going to share with the creators, like 55%. So it's kind of like the YouTube model. I'm guessing this isn't going to apply to most people. I think this is probably for mega influencers. But again, we shall see. The other way that they're monetizing Instagram is with these new digital badges. So on the screenshot, as you could see, maybe you can't see, some of the comments in Instagram live videos are now going to appear with these heart badges on them. And these badges you could purchase from Instagram. And then during a stream, you can basically give hearts to the person streaming. They're going to earn money from that. And then, of course, the money that you're giving them is going to also go to Facebook as well. And so it's 99 cents for one heart and $4.99 for 3. And then, of course, if you're the streamer and you're the person live streaming and you could see the people who are doing this, you could give them a big shout out. You could give them, I don't know, I guess you could give them whatever you want. This just gives me a headache. It just does. I mean, I don't really love this. And, would be interested to hear your comments on this. I just think, first of all, the people who are there are people who are really going to get hurt from this. And these are going to be teenagers, or parents of kids who, even if they try to put constraints on this, the kids are going to get a hold of the parents' credit cards, and then they're going to go watch some influencer, and they're going to go away and give away the farm. And that's going to happen. So if for no other reason, I don't like it for that. Let's see. Twitter has finally jumped on board with a little chat box that basically looks just, as you could see in that screenshot, it looks just like Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn Messenger. It's on desktop, and it'll pop up on the lower right-hand corner of your screen. I mean, if anybody is even using Twitter DMs anymore, I really don't, because 95% of what comes in my Twitter DMs is just garbage. Okie dokie. I am excited about this. If you've followed me for any length of time, you know that number one, I love Twitter for business. And number two, I love Twitter lists so much. So they came up recently with this. I talked about it back in December. These cards that you can create for your Twitter list, which are great. But now you can customize your Twitter list cards with a custom image. So I just think that's great. Let's see here. They've also are making it easier for you to add text descriptions to your uploaded images. So also known as alt text. So it's the plus alt button, and it's displayed on the image itself. And when you click it, it's going to let you use screen readers to interpret the images in tweets. So you no longer need to add that alt text setting. So what is alt text? Well, it's really a accessibility thing, right? Like, so if somebody can't, it helps people to people who can't hear, they can press this and hear a description of what the image is. So you may have noticed, like, it'll say, Jennifer is smiling with a cup of coffee in her hand as she looks out over the ocean. And a lot of people are like, well, that's kind of odd. That's why that's there. But also it's really good for SEO and getting read by Google. And so handy dandy that you don't have to do it manually. It'll be interesting to see, though, how the screen reader actually interprets the picture, because, like, looking at what's on the screen right now, we see a greenhouse with a power line, I guess, that's going across it. But what if Twitter sees that as green box with stick, like, it'll just be interesting. Pinterest has created, again, you guys, with the guides, go get the guides, put it on the show notes page, but they published a new guide to create standout video content in your pins. And we don't tend to think about Pinterest and video. So this is something to pay attention to. By the way, Pinterest is really the best kept secret in social media marketing. So if you haven't upped your Pinterest game, now's a good time to grab a good Pinterest course and get yourself going over there, and also check out their free stuff. Zoom has gotten rid, at least temporarily, of the GIF feature in the chat. did you even know that was there? I did not. And I think it's a really good idea that it's gone, because how distracting. I mean, it's distracting enough on Zoom. We don't need people throwing in like, blinking GIFs in the chat. I never even knew it was there. I published a new episode this week on the podcast, the Front Row Entrepreneur Podcast. If you aren't already subscribed, look for it wherever you get your podcast. And if you subscribe, you'll never miss an episode. And I won't have to remind you like I am now. But my guest this week is Mel Farr. And Mel launched an online business out of thin air, basically. And she's well into 7 figures, and she's just really, really smart. And she shared some very actionable tips on this episode. Like, she gave some formulas. I love a good formula in terms of, if you have this many people who sign up for your thing, how many people need to actually show up and participate in your thing, and then how many people are going to convert. Super helpful. I always love to hear other people's numbers. She also gave some really interesting house cleaning tips for our email list. It was kind of tough to hear for me, but it made good sense. And I am going to be employing the tactics that she shared. And then just a whole bunch of other really good stuff. I think you're going to enjoy talking to her or listening to her, because she's really no BS and really gets down to brass tacks. While you're over on iTunes, would love it if you would leave a review for the podcast. They don't make it easy over on iTunes. You go over to podcasts, search for the podcast, Front Row Entrepreneur, click on it, then click ratings and reviews, then click 5 stars, click write a review, and then click send. I would really appreciate it. I have been so negligent in asking people to write reviews. I have a lot of nice reviews over there, but I need to just, having this in the slide deck is reminds me to ask people, because on the podcast itself, I always forget to ask people. Okay. Taco Tuesday in our free online classroom, the Front Row. It's frontrowclassroom.com. If you're not a member, you definitely want to join. It's totally free. And we have a lot of great conversations in there, share a lot of great information. And on Tuesdays, we all share tools and apps that make our lives easier, that help us run our business more efficiently. And so we're going to go over the apps that were shared this week. There's just a couple, but they're good. Mary shared Lasso. So it says that it makes it easy for anybody to create and share short videos with fun filters and effects. Follow creators, search hashtags, discover popular viral video trends, and join in by putting your own spin on them. And I imagine you could find this in the App Store or maybe the Google Play Store. So this one, I'm going to actually leave the slide deck because I want to show you this, because I used this the other day and it came in so handy. So let me stop the share. Hold on. It's called builtwith.com. And if you're ever over, stalking somebody else's website, trying to get ideas for your podcast page or whatever, and you go, or even somebody's landing page, and you want to know, like, oh, how did they do that thing? How did they do that thing? Well, let me show you how you figure that out. So you go to builtwith.com. I'm going to make sure you guys are seeing this. You are. Good. You go to builtwith.com, and then let's type in amyporterfield.com. I might have to put in the HTTPS. No. All right. So this is Amy's website. And look at this. I can see every single plugin, everything that she is using on her website, her payment processing, her audio video hosting, her content management system, her WordPress plugins, her JavaScript, advertising, everything. Look, it's just going and going and going. So sometimes you can figure it out, like if it's so she's using Hotjar, and that's interesting because I was thinking about buying Hotjar after our wonderful training in Front Row VIP with Ratna. Was it Ratna who talked about it? I think so. And anyway, Hotjar shows you can actually see real time how people exactly where they are on your website. So, all right. So Amy's using that. So she must like it. So it's just really cool. Play around with this. you can easily waste a couple of hours with that with that tool. But it's one that you really probably want to bookmark because there's so many times, right? Like when you're looking at something. I know when I used it this week, it was we wanted to put our transcripts on our show notes page in the podcast. Right now, it's just a button, right? So if you want the transcripts for the podcast, you just click the button. But I know that if you actually have it on the page, like the words themselves, it's good for SEO. And so, but then at the same time, you don't want 25 pages, clogging up your thing. So I thought, well, we could do breadcrumbs. That's where it's like, one paragraph and they'll say read more, but that we couldn't figure out how to do that. And then I was like, well, let's go look at some other people. So we went to look at Pat Flynn's page to see what he had. And he has this, and of course, now I can't tell you what the name of the widget was, but we could see that he had this special kind of like widget for his transcripts that allow them to be embedded, but you can scroll through them and they don't take up the whole page. So I found that with the builtwith.com link. So that was pretty cool. Okay. And let's quickly jump back into our deck. And now we're going to go into our book shares. I say this every week, but the people in the front row, like smart people, we have a bunch of readers. The people in our group read because that really is being a reader really goes hand in hand with being someone who lives life on the front row, right? Because how are you gonna really step up if you aren't constantly learning, bringing in new information? It's the epitome of being a front row kind of a person, right? Let me just double check that you can see me. Yep, you can. Okay, so let's get to it. So recently, Tom Morcus did a training for us. He is a genius. He did a training for us in Front Row VIP all about how to do an online summit. It was so good, step by step, so good. Anyway, and of course, I used that opportunity when we were all done to ask him what his favorite professional development book is. And he said it was Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb. And it really is a great concept because when you hear the phrase anti-fragile, we tend to think like it's not what it sounds like. You tend to think it means like, so don't be fragile. Like if you're easily broken, don't be easily broken. But it's not that. It's better. So the best way that I've heard it described is like if you think of putting a mason jar in a box, or let's say like a jar of jelly in a box and you shake it, nothing's going to happen to it, right? Probably not. Or just like a big, sturdy, heavy, thick glass kind of thing. But if you put a very fragile glass vase in a box, so that would be considered robust. Okay, that's a robust item. If you put a very thin glass vase in a box and you shake it, it shatters. It's fragile. But what happens when you put when you put a piece of coal in a box? Well, nothing really, but let's just say you put it in a super high speed machine that shakes it over 100 years. It becomes a diamond. So it's not weak, it's stronger. Sort of like that which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. But even think about like tearing a muscle. Like you work a muscle till you tear it and that muscle becomes stronger. So really interesting to think about. And there's a whole lot more in the book, way better than my Cliff Notes version. So check it out. And our next book was contributed by Mary Nunnally, continuing with Secrets of Power Negotiation by Roger Dawson. She didn't add any commentary with that. I think that's pretty straightforward. Inside Secrets from a Master Negotiator. Anna says she finally got around to reading Becoming, and she enjoyed that by Michelle Obama. Isabel submitted The Middle Finger Project by Ash Amberger, my favorite book so far of the year. Fantastic. Run and get this book. Read it this weekend. The Audible version is great too if you prefer listening to books. Atomic Habits. I need to read that one again. That's one of those you go back to several times. Very, very good book. An easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones by James Clear. And, I want to say one more thing about that. This really did have a huge influence on me. And one of the points that he makes is that when you create, and I think he made it, but it's when you create a new habit, it's easier to create every new habit after that because you become a person who's able to create habits. Think about that. That's everything. That's so important. I'm going backwards. Okay, this one is 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, submitted by James Levin or Levin, sorry, James. And it is by Yuval Noah Harari, and it sounds good. This one was contributed by Diane Hook-Spadola. Fear is not the boss of you. It says how to get out of your head and live the life you were made for, by Jennifer Allwood. All right. Thank you for that, Diane. And Ash said, the Holy Bible, always great lessons to learn from it. And I'm finding they apply more and more to my business. All right. Untamed. I read this one a couple of weeks ago. This was submitted by Alexandra Takeda, and it is by Glennon Doyle. I listened to the audio version and quite enjoyed it. The description says it shows us how to be brave. As Glennon insists, the braver we are, the luckier we get. Christina submitted Abundance Now by Lisa Nichols. Amplify your life and achieve prosperity today. And then this one is More Myself by Alicia Keys, an audiophile earphones award-winning production. Says this program is read by Alicia Keys with special guest appearances by family and friends, including Oprah, Jay-Z, and Michelle Obama. An intimate, revealing look at one artist's journey from self-censorship to full expression. And this was submitted by Christina Monti. Thank you, Christina. Hey, if you aren't already a member of Front Row VIP, my private mastermind program enrollment is now open. And not only is it filled with any and every training you might need to help you get going or grow your online business, and tons of marketing stuff and social media trainings, we also have 2 coaching calls every month where I answer your specific question in advance. So I do a lot of research. We come on the call. I answer your question. I try to find, if I can't answer your question, I will try and find someone who can, or point you in the right direction. And if you can't show up live, you get a replay and a timestamp directly to the answer of your question. In addition, I invite the best experts in the business to come and share information with us. So we just had Ratna came and showed us how to use Google to grow our business in a way that was digestible for people who are not developers. It was really amazing. And that training lives inside a VIP. Coming up really soon, we've got Miriam Schulman, who has one of the top podcasts in the world, called the Inspiration Place podcast. And she's going to show us how to launch and grow a top charting podcast. And then Ron Reich is coming. He has been my coach for over a year. And he's going to be talking about your heroic character. And I'm just going to let that sit there. I'm not going to tell you what the heroic character is, but we have a lot of good stuff, as always, on the way, and a lot of stuff that has already been, that is in there waiting on you. So if you're interested in checking out Front Row VIP, just go to frontrowvip.com. I'm not really doing a good job here with the banners. I'm trying to find the banner for that, but I think you can remember frontrowvip.com. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and tell you that I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And again, if you're not part of the free community, go to frontrowclassroom.com to catch the daily news. I have a flash briefing on Amazon called the Front Row Entrepreneur Flash Briefing. Just go over to Amazon, type that in the search bar, make sure you're in the skills area, click enable. And you don't even have to have a Lexi device, which I just accidentally unplugged mine. You don't have to have a Lexi device. You can do it on your phone through the Amazon Alexa app. And then you just say, Lexi, play my flash briefings. And you'll hear the Front Row Entrepreneur Flash Briefing every day, about 2 minutes long, and gives you just a little short nugget of what's new in the world of online marketing, social media, online business, all that jazz. So you guys, thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you right here next Friday.